What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over a bunch of Chapter 4 tips that might not have been obvious to as many of you, especially if you haven't been able to put a bunch of time into the new chapter. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of Chapter 4, and if you would like to use me for support a creator, my code is EvolveJake. It's underneath the webcam at all times. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a potential fix to aim assist if you play controller, because aim assist has been bugged for a lot of players so far in Chapter 4, and oddly enough, I know this makes no sense at all, but it has to do with the new reticle damage and feedback options. For some reason, having the damage numbers as cumulative instead of list, and having the reticle damage feedback options on, can mess with aim assist. Upshaw was the one who found this out, and he always is like finding out the weird problems with aim assist. But yeah, I'll have it on screen now. If you play controller, this is the way you want the reticle options to look. You want the damage numbers on list, and you want reticle damage feedback on off. That is going to make your aim assist much more consistent. It's still going to have its times where it doesn't work, but since I switched to this, my enjoyment of Chapter 4 has been much higher. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Thunder Shotgun, because it has an incredibly slow pullout time, and this can lead to you not shooting the shotgun when you're swapping between your weapons. So if you've been getting in a lot of fights, I know a lot of people have, where your shotgun just doesn't shoot, it's because you're swapping weapons too fast. And then the same thing can happen with editing. If you try to or when you build, if you try to shoot and then build right away, if you hit switch mode too fast, or you try to build too fast after shooting, you'll have instances where your gun just doesn't shoot because of how slow the pullout time of the Thunder Shotgun is. Hopefully that gets fixed sometime soon, but yeah, just keep in mind when using the Thunder Shotgun that you kind of need to play around that slower pullout time. This is something that I myself was struggling with a lot the first day, but once I kind of tried to slow it down, I started to get much better with this weapon. The Red Eye Assault Rifle is the new first-person assault rifle, and I pretty much always just tap fire this weapon, unless the person is like within 30 meters or so. But for a majority of fights, I just tap fire it. You could still tap fire it relatively fast, but you're not going to have nearly as much of the recoil as you will when you full auto it. So if you are someone who thinks the Red Eye Assault Rifle has too much recoil, you can tap fire it. It has such a slow fully auto fire rate anyways that you might be shooting 80% slower, but you're dealing with a significantly less amount of recoil. So I would recommend tap firing this Red Eye Assault Rifle rather than just full spraying it unless you're in like very close range. There are the new augments, which are perks, and there's actually sometimes where you might want to save these. So one example is the Chug Cannon augment. If you get this, you don't have to confirm it right away. You can close your augment selection and then come back to it later. And this is really nice because the Chug Cannon takes 2 slots, making it really inconvenient to carry. But if you just keep this augment in your back pocket, you basically have a Chug Cannon with you whenever you need it for free. And then you could just use it and then drop it, basically is what I do. So if you do get the Chug Cannon augment, consider maybe saving it for later. The same thing with some of the augments that give you like an explosive bow. I don't really use that one, but like you might be in an instance where it would be nice to have that, but you aren't carrying it. You can use the augment, have it in your back pocket when you need it, and then just pull it when you need it without actually taking the inventory slot. This is really OP with the Chug Cannon, I think, especially since it's like a rechargeable healing item. You'll basically get 1 free heal off with it without taking any of the inventory slots. It's really busted, and whenever I get the Chug Cannon augment, I just save it. This does deny you access to future augments, but they stack, so you could wait until all 4 augments are available and then just confirm them. It's not like holding this Chug Cannon in your pocket and not getting the other ones yet makes it to where you won't even start earning them. You'll still be able to get them once you get your Chug Cannon or whatever. So I think that's really nice. The hammer is super busted in Chapter 4. This is like the weapon. It's insane mobility. If you hit your aim down sights button, you do a dash with it, and this allows you to get around the map very quickly, and it does recharge over time. And one interesting thing is, you can swap yours for another one. Like you can use all 4 of your charges and then pick up another one and it'll have 4 charges again. If you think back to like the Nimbus Cloud from Chapter 3, once you used it, even if you swapped it, it would still be on cooldown, but that does not apply to the hammer. So if you kill somebody and used your hammer to close the gap, you might want to swap yours for theirs and just get the charges. And then you can also carry multiple hammers. I don't know why you would want to do it. For me, 4 charges is typically more than enough. I haven't been in instances where I just need like 8 to 12 charges, but I've seen people saying they carry multiple hammers for whatever reason. The Twin Mag SMG is a new submachine gun added in Chapter 4, and it has an interesting reload mechanic where it reloads fast every other reload, and you can actually see this on the reticle when you're using the weapon. If there's 2 ammo count things on the reticle when you pull it out. That means you'll get the fast reload next. If there's only one that's full, you'll get the slow reload. And you kind of want to manage this. If you aren't in a fight currently, but you're on the slow reload, you might as well shoot it and then reload. That way you have the fast reload when you do go into a fight. You basically just want to make sure if you do have some downtime and you're using this weapon to check and see, that way you have the fast reload for a fight, because it only has 20 rounds per mag, but with the fast reload you can get access to 40 rounds very quickly. And then there's the slow reload, and then you get the fast reload again. So just keep that in mind. If you've played Call of Duty and used the dual mag attachment, it works exactly the same way. There are now these mushroom jellies on the map, which are basically like the mushrooms from last chapter that were around the map, but now they're floating around, and you basically just run or jump into them, and they heal you for 20, and they're often in large, dense packs. So that's like 100 shield just chilling there on the map. If you're ever in an instance where you need heals or you're around them and you need to heal, you could just use this rather than consuming your heals, and it's basically natural heals around the map like we saw with the mushrooms in the past. The new slap juice item is you can actually use it while moving. When you get the actual drink, you can just walk around while using it. But also the slap juice barrels and the slap juice berries give you the same effect, and that is that when you use this item, you have unlimited sprint for a short duration afterwards. Your stamina bar will be glowing yellow or orange, and that's how you know you have unlimited sprint. So even if you don't necessarily need the heals and you come across the berries, the slap juice, or the slap barrels, just taking advantage of it to get that extra sprint can be really nice, especially with how zero build plays out sometimes. Getting caught off guard with your sprint on cooldown can be a death sentence sometimes, but having unlimited sprint allows you just to run around the map without really much concern at all. You have to be much more mindful of the bloom when using the Scar assault rifle, or just the basic assault rifle that's in the game right now. People have been calling the Scar for since Fortnite came out, because that's what it looks like. It looks like the Scar assault rifle. But if you played in Chapter 3, a lot of people are used to the hammer, which had such minuscule bloom that you could just full spray it all the time. That's not the case with the Scar. You need to tap fire this weapon sometimes. You need to burst it sometimes, depending on range. If the opponent is really far, you need to tap fire or burst it. If they're more medium range, you probably just need to burst it or maybe tap fire sometimes. If they're up close, you can spray. But this gun has much more bloom. I've seen a lot of people complaining about how terrible it is compared to how it used to be. Nothing changed. It's just that we were used to weapons with way less bloom in Chapter 3. And that was why I never really understood why a lot of people were complaining about the hammer and wanting the Scar back last chapter. Because the hammer had so much less bloom, making it way more convenient to use. But the Scar has more bloom, meaning you have to play around that bloom and manage the size of your crosshair appropriately. And that's just something that not a lot of people are used to because of how easy to use or how forgiving the hammer AR was. There are these new rift events which occur on the map. You'll basically hear I don't even know how to describe it. It sounds like gears turning or something like that. And then an explosion. And there will be a rift event that occurs on the map. Some of this spawns loot. Some of it spawns AI that fight each other. There's one that just spawns 3 llamas randomly. There's one that spawns vending machines. But if you're in an area and you hear this rift event, you might want to take advantage of it, because like I just said, some of them have good loot. The one that spawns 3 llamas is insane. There's one that spawns a bunch of coolers. There's a lot of loot that can occur because of these rift events. So keep your eyes open and try to pay attention to hear or for when it happens, because it can change the outcome of your game with how insane the loot is, especially if you are somewhat down bad. There are these new oath-bound chests around the map. There's these big white chests. They give you 2 weapons and 2 heals, I think. And I'm pretty sure they have very high odds of giving you hammers from what I've seen. And these spawn in the same place every game. So the IO chests in the past, or the 7 chests in the past, where they spawn is guaranteed, and they're there every single time. So if any of these spawn around your area, or you notice them in an area where you like playing, remember to take advantage of them in the future, because they are going to be there every game. In Chapter 4, they added this new capturing POI mechanic, where you can go and stand on the flag, and then it raises, and then you get loot from doing it. I believe you get 2 blue weapons and 2 heals, or something along those lines. The loot is very disappointing with the amount of time it takes to capture it. I think this is a cool mechanic, but I would like to see it give a decent amount of material in build mode, and maybe even better loot, or just capture faster, because I feel like right now the amount of time it takes compared to the loot you get is just really out of line. But there are some instances where this could be helpful, especially if you just rebooted somebody and they're coming off spawn. You guys could capture the point, and then you have some loot there for them. But overall, I don't really find myself taking advantage of this too much, and I feel like for the most part, you're just kind of a sitting target. and you're much better off just looting an actual source of loot. But that is going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys found this video helpful or informative. Like I said, it was just a bunch of random chapter 4 tips that might be obvious to some of you, but for some of you it might not be obvious. And for those of you who haven't had much time to put into the game, just learning some of these things or being told some of these things can have a decent impact on your game, or at least make you learn the new chapter faster. As always, if you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, use code EvolveJake in the item shop, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.